How's everybody doing? All right, this is a live stream. We're going to talk really quickly about Rigondeaux versus Julio Ceja, and also about Jamal Charlo versus Jorge Cota. So the two fights just today here, just a few minutes ago. I was watching both fights. What can I say about it? Cota is a fighter who has been a contender for a while. You know, he's faced guys like he's been stopped by two fighters actually, well-known fighters. So Jamal Charlo was facing a guy who was kind of tough, but you know, more for an exhibition bout to get his confidence back after losing to Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison was on site to see how the fight would go, and Jamal Charlo got the stoppage. He stopped him, he counter-righted him. I think he caught him with a right cross, and then he finished him off with a jab and a lead right, and a jab followed by a right. Okay, they cut through his guard. But Cota was by that time he was still dizzy, so he just kind of got knocked down, and he was just spinning all over the place anyway. So, as to Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Julio Ceja, that was actually a much more competitive fight. Ceja was a tough competitor, and Rigo started infighting. You know, that's not really Rigo's game. And Ceja caught him in a really good shot. And actually, the fight was stopped, I would say, a bit premature. I think that Ceja could have gone on. He's a tough kind of contender. He's a tough guy. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat section here. Hold on a second. Shout out to Jackson the Hopeful. You also had the PBC Prospect of the Year, Joey Spencer fight, and it looked like a hit dog. It looked like hot dog water. Sorry. Okay. I did not actually see the Joey Spencer fight. Joey Spencer, he was supposed to be facing, I can't remember who. I don't know. Did he get a decision or did he lose the fight? Or was it a draw? Jackson the Hopeful. Shout out to Jackson the Hopeful, by the way. Yeah, so I saw those two fights. I'll have to go check out the Joey Spencer fight. Yeah, so Rigo, you know, he looked vulnerable in there. But to his credit, he won the super bantamweight title. He won the WBC super. No, he didn't win the title. Sorry, he won the eliminator. So he gets to fight for this WBC super bantamweight title. So good kudos to him on getting that win over Ceja. He won, but he almost got knocked out twice. Wow, really? Wow, Jackson. That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, wow, and you know he's trying to talk defense and stuff, and I think he is coached by Virgil Hunter, if I'm not mistaken. He's Virgil Hunter's boy. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I would like to see that fight then. I'm going to go watch it. Shout out to every one of you guys out there. So Guillermo Rigondeaux, he got the win over the stoppage win over Ceja. I still think Ceja was a bit live, even though he was shaky, and he proved that he was tough. Now, yeah, he could have probably gotten brain damage or something. He still probably has to check the doctor after this fight, as did Guillermo Rigondeaux. But he did give Guillermo Rigondeaux some good beatings. You know, he beat him every now and then. He got him with some good, solid shots, man. He got his shots in. So kudos to him. And the fight went about, it went quite, almost went the distance. So that's a good fight. That was a good fight for Guillermo Rigondeaux. Good fight for Julio Ceja. Julio Ceja definitely would be probably another guy facing another top tier prospect or whoever. He's going to face some top tier competition because he really proved to be a good fight. Again, he's a contender. He was a big contender. He faced some top tier competition. So it was supposed to be a kind of tough task for Guillermo Rigondeaux, but not anything that wouldn't have him featuring himself. All right. Jackson Hopeful says, I'm in LA right now, so I'll miss a few streams. No problem, man. No problem. Thank you for actually checking out my stuff, to be honest with you. Glad to see that you're on vacation, bro. Hope you have a good time. Enjoy your vacation. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go to work right now, but I just decided to do this quick stream with you guys before I get out of here. All right. So the upcoming fights, you have Errol Spence facing Sean Porter. We have Manny Pacquiao facing Keith Thurman. That's in the welterweight division. Those are the top tier welterweights. Danny Garcia, I don't know who he's facing. They say he might face Mikey Garcia. That's a rumor still. It is not confirmed that he will face Mikey Garcia. So those are all just rumors. If he faces Mikey Garcia, it'll be a good matchup again. I like that. These are all good matchups. These are solid, but these are just top tier welterweights in the welterweight division. Not some, I can't remember who the guy is. I think it was Hybrid, who is in Tommy Temper's Hangout. Put out a really stupid video on, Errol Spence being the most duck guy and why isn't he facing Terrence Crawford across the pond? And I'm like, really? Are you asking them the dumbest shit I ever heard? People want to see Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, and I'm like, so nobody wants to see Sean Porter versus Errol Spence? Are you out of your freaking mind? Like, Sean Porter. People think Errol Spence is just gonna beat Sean Porter just like that. Who has ever beaten Sean Porter just like that? Sean Porter, since the amateurs, given every single person he's faced tough, stiff competition. Andre Ward himself said, all right, Andre Ward himself said that his toughest competition to date was Sean Porter. All right? So if y'all think that Errol Spence is going to run over Sean Porter like Errol Spence is saying, that's not happening. Okay? That's a tough fight. I was listening to the people, on the Mayweather boxing channel. Jeff Mayweather interviews different people, and he interviewed Joe Cortez, who has his own show, by the way. You should check it out, which is Fair But Firm. You should check out that podcast as well. But Joe Cortez was like, he's favoring Sean Porter to win that fight. And you know what? I can see why. Because Sean Porter is a guy, of course, Errol Spence is the better, cleaner work he does on the inside than Sean Porter does. So if Sean Porter tries to engage Errol Spence on the inside, I think Errol Spence wins that battle. But when it comes to... But Porter can do just about everything pretty good. He can box on the outside. He can bang on the inside. Okay, he's got good footwork. He's quick, explosive, Now, somebody made a point, which is a good point, that Sean Porter's struggling to make weight now. So the weight class is really giving him a problem. And Sean Porter's he really is a massive welterweight if you think about it, because Sean Porter, even though he's been staying on weight and on point, Sean Porter is a guy that came out from 180 pounds. So he's even bigger than Errol Spence. That's why he can take a punch so well. But if he starts getting weight drained, he's going to get dropped and stopped by Errol Spence. The thing about Sean Porter, though, is that if you look at his fighting style, Sean Porter never fights for you to be comfortable in there. So Errol Spence is not ever going to be comfortable against Sean Porter. He's going to be bringing the heat at times, intelligently and in spaces, and he's also going to be boxing on the outside. So I expect Sean Porter to do a combination of both things against Errol Spence. And Sean Porter showed in his last fight against Ugas that he can fight on the outside and on the inside. Okay, and he's quick. He's really, really fast. Now, where Errol Spence will have an advantage over Sean Porter is Sean Porter's not the most accurate guy in the world. He's working on his accuracy. Errol Spence is clinical with his accuracy. So I could see Errol Spence appointing Sean Porter, but as to say that he's going to stop Porter or drop Sean Porter, I just don't see that happening. Sean Porter's too strong, too quick for Errol Spence to just stop him and drop him. He's strong. I mean, you saw Sean Porter take one of Keith Thurman's best money punches. You saw Danny Garcia take Keith Thurman's best money punch. Errol Spence can't hit like Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman hits, I think, out of all the welterweights out there, I think Keith Thurman hits the hardest. And Errol Spence is a clinician. He'll break you down. He can't hit as hard as Keith Thurman. So he don't got that one punch knockout power. So if Errol Spence can't do that against Sean Porter, he's not going to stop Sean Porter. All right? He's going to try and wear down Sean Porter. And I'm still saying, I think Sean Porter makes it all the way to the end. Okay? Kell Brook couldn't stop Sean Porter. And Kell Brook got serious punching power as well. So, if those guys couldn't stop Sean Porter, that's like, let me say a couple of things. The first thing is, I don't think Errol Spence stops Danny Garcia. I don't think Errol Spence stops Keith Thurman. I don't think Errol Spence stops Sean Porter. If he stops Sean Porter, that'd be a huge statement. Unless Sean Porter is weight drained, right? That'd be a huge statement. Because I don't see Errol Spence stopping Sean Porter. I just don't see it. Somebody had to show me that Errol Spence stopping Sean Porter. I don't think that was going to happen. Okay? So when it comes to, and Errol Spence goes to the body religiously, but I just don't think he's going to stop Sean Porter. That's just my thing. Maybe he does. Maybe he does man down Sean Porter. I just don't see it though. So when it comes to, because Sean Porter's too smart. He's too smart. He knows what to do if he's getting hit and he finds he's getting hurt. He's gonna do something different. So I don't see Errol Spence stopping any of those top welterweights I just talked about. I don't even see him stopping Terrence Crawford. And he possibly could stop Terrence Crawford. But I don't see him stopping Terrence Crawford. So he's now facing, like Roy Jones Jr. was saying, Errol Spence hasn't really faced top tier competition as yet. He's faced Mikey Garcia, who's a small guy, right, coming up. But his biggest win to date been Kell Brook, right? Kell Brook been the dude. He'd been fighting true welterweights and beating them up. But when I'm talking about top tier welterweights, his only top tier welterweight was Kell Brook. Okay. Now, when you look, the thing that I didn't agree with Roy Jones Jr. about, I agree with him. Errol Spence hasn't faced top tier competition to be dubbed the best welterweight out there. I agree with that. Keith Thurman's fought stiffer competition. Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. Those three have fought probably the best welterweights out there. Okay. Now, and Manny Pacquiao. But as to like Terrence Crawford, he's saying that Terrence Crawford's proven and stuff. Terrence Crawford ain't fought nobody either. The best competition Terrence Crawford has first faced to date at welterweight is Amir Khan, and I ain't saying much. Because Amir Khan hasn't faced any of the top tier welterweights out there. So when you think about it, so you compare Kell Brook to Amir Khan. Kell Brook is obviously a better welterweight than Amir Khan is. Okay? It's just what it is. Okay? So Amir Khan's been knocked the fuck out. Like, he's been knocked the spark out. Kell Brook's never been knocked the spark out, first of all. It's problems with his eye. When he faced GGG, he didn't get stopped like how fucking Amir Khan got stopped by Canelo. And then Amir Khan was about to get stopped by Terrence Crawford. Okay? He was going to get fucked up bad. And he got a way out. Okay? So when we talk about Amir Khan ain't nobody. Terrence Crawford beat up Amir Khan. But fucking let him face Kell Brook. This is the next guy he should face, Kell Brook. Let's see how he fares versus what Errol Spence did to Kell Brook, which actually eventually stopped him, right? And it was because of Kell Brook's eye, of course, that Kell Brook's eye got fucked up. So that's why Kell Brook couldn't fight like he wanted to. But he was fading in the later rounds, and Errol Spence was coming on. Kell Brook was beating his ass early, though. So the point is, let Terrence Crawford face a Kell Brook. Then we could talk about competition. So this is where I think Roy Jones Jr. is talking out his ass, quite frankly. Roy Jones Jr. first, he started talking about how Errol Spence hadn't really faced anybody in the welterweight division for him to say, whatever, and Sean Porter going to be his first test. I totally agree with him on that, except for Kell Brook. Kell Brook is the one that was the number one welterweight in the division at the time, okay? So Errol Spence faced the number one fucking welterweight in the division at the time when Kell Brook was undefeated as a welterweight. He had gotten beat by Triple G, unfortunately. But he was undefeated as a welterweight. All right? Fucking Amir Khan, he ain't even in the top 10 of anything when Terrence Crawford beat him. So to even try to put Terrence Crawford up on a level and Terrence Crawford and be tested, he hasn't been tested as a welterweight yet. He hasn't been fucking tested as a welterweight. He ain't faced no top tier welterweight yet. So what the fuck is Roy Jones Jr. talking about? Sorry about the F-bomb. I'm going to stop saying F-bombs as a Christian. But what is Roy Jones? That's why he's talking nonsense now. And that's what Errol Spence kind of dismissed him because he's like, yeah, he was for HBO. Terrence Crawford's on top rank and gets paid, He ain't going to say that. That's where Roy Jones was. Roy Jones was absolutely 100% correct in saying that, Errol Spence ain't really tested. He ain't really faced a true welterweight at the welterweight division, on the regular for you guys to be dubbing him the next coming Messiah. I get it. That I 100% agree with. Because he's still got these tough ass welterweights out there like Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Manny fucking Pacquiao, and then you got Terrence Crawford as well outside of the PBC for him to face. So I get 100% what he's saying about he ain't tested yet. But Terrence Crawford ain't fucking tested. He's worse than Errol Spence. Errol Spence at least faced Kell Brook. Who is Terrence Crawford face? Amir Khan? You mean punch drunk and knock out Amir Khan, who's trying to look for a way out, who's getting his ass beat? Are you serious? Nah, man. So, Amir Khan himself hasn't been tested fully as a welterweight. Okay. Jackson the Hopeful is saying Andrade's fight is next week. Okay, we'll look forward to that. That's a good-ass fight. Because his competitor is a dude who is a very good fighter. So you are absolutely 100% correct. Sean Porter reminds me of Aaron Pryor. A little bit. He's a little bit like Aaron Pryor. A little bit unorthodox. Shots don't. He's not deterred by you hitting him. He's still gonna get his stuff in, and he's gonna stop your ass. That's the only difference. Sean Porter don't really stop people, but he has that tenacity, that viciousness that Aaron Pryor had. He could box a bit. He's a little bit unorthodox in how he approaches things. He nullifies your thing. The difference is Aaron Pryor doesn't smother his offense. So Sean Porter kind of smothers his offense. And he's kind of sloppy with his offense. He don't always land the shots clean, you know. But he got the tenacity and he got that chin, and you know he come at you, and he still got some defense at the same time, you know. So he reminds me of Roberto Duran too in terms of getting hit flush and still keep coming at your ass. You know what I'm saying? Pooh B. Sis Strong says people think Spence is running from Crawford fight. That is but damn, these boxing fans are dumb as I mean they the dumbest people in the face of the planet if they think he running from Terrence Crawford. You know what I would say? I'd say I'm glad Terrence Crawford's getting more time to face Errol Spence, because Errol Spence would beat him. If Terrence Crawford faced Errol Spence right now, he'd get his ass handed to him. Right? And y'all would say, oh, he wasn't in the welterweight division long. He hadn't been tested. Yeah. Did you see what Errol Spence did to Kell Brook? Okay. Kell Brook's a true welterweight. Okay? Let Terrence Crawford face Kell Brook. If you don't want to face no PBC fighter, because of Bob Arum, then let him face Kell Brook. I told y'all, a really good fight for Terrence Crawford right now is a Danny Garcia fight. He ain't ready for Errol Spence. He's ready. Let him face Danny Garcia. I'll show you he ain't ready for Errol Spence. Let him face Danny Garcia, and y'all will see he's not ready for Errol Spence. He hasn't fought nobody. Shit. I mean, it's so weird to see Errol Spence dubbed as the best welterweight in the world. He ain't fighting nobody yet, except for Kell Brook. And the guys who actually fought people like Keith Thurman, y'all be trashing Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman beat Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. Errol Spence ain't even faced those guys yet. Now he's taking on. Now Keith Thurman's facing Manny fucking Pacquiao. Do you realize Keith Thurman's facing the superior competition in the welterweight division? The most decorated fucking welterweight in the welterweight division, aside from Manny Pacquiao, is Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman got a better resume than in the welterweight division than Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and Danny Garcia, because he beat Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. He got a better resume than those dudes. So if y'all haven't realized by now, just based on resume, who the best welterweights out there are, well, y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. All right? Errol Spence has faced Kell Brook. Terrence Crawford hasn't even faced anybody on that level yet. And he faced Kell Brook when Kell Brook was dubbed the #1 welterweight in the division. Everybody viewed Kell Brook as the #1 fucking welterweight in the division. All right? Terrence Crawford has not faced any of the top 10 welterweights in the division. Ever. So how can we dub Terrence Crawford the greatest thing since sliced bread? He has not faced competition to make us say that. Again, it's the same problem with Triple G. It's the same problem with these fighters. Y'all be praising up all kinds of stuff, and then when they do face higher level competition, y'all make excuses for them. All right? Because y'all be hyping up people, and there's no evidence to support. Yes, they got skill set. You can see they're skilled and so on, but they haven't faced the competition to put those skills to the test. Right? So, first, before all y'all guys jump the gun and start talking and praising Terrence Crawford, let him fight a top 10 welterweight. Mind you, Errol Spence has done that. Keith Thurman has done that multiple times. Danny Garcia walked into the welterweight division and faced top tier competition on his second fucking fight. You gotta praise Danny for that. Manny Pacquiao been doing it for years. Years. He was pound for pound #1 fighter in the world from 2007 to 2000, and I think it was 9 or 10 or something like that. Okay? So, for Terrence Crawford, for y'all to be praising a guy who ain't proven himself yet, all right? We know he got the skills and the ability, and we see switches and all of that. We know that. All right? What I'm saying, though, is until he actually goes in the ring and faces a top tier welterweight, all of that don't mean squat. You can't be putting Terrence Crawford over Errol Spence, and he ain't faced the competition Errol Spence has faced. You can't put him over Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, just based on how he look, because he's stopping guys and he's looking good, and his skills seem to be working for him. Okay? You've got to look at what these other welterweights have been doing. So why would Errol Spence duck Terrence Crawford? First of all, he faced the better competition. He the longer reigning welterweight. He been a welterweight longer. He been a welterweight champion longer. He faced better competition. He got better competition than Terrence Crawford at this present time based on resume to face, without having to wonder about going across the pond to face Terrence Crawford. All right? And let's say, okay, let's play devil's advocate. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's play devil's advocate to these fans. By the way, remember, it's fucking Rob Arum, the clown who started this. He's a punk, but it's all right. You're going to build a fight. Fine. I hope Terrence Crawford don't lose a fight. That's all I'm saying. But he ain't got much. He don't got much to fight out there. He only got Kell Brook. So he better take the Kell Brook fight. Make sure he win it. So let's talk about this. Let's say that Errol Spence Errol Spence gets the Terrence Crawford fight. So they fight immediately. The next fight is that fight. Let's just say that happened. You say, fuck Sean Porter, and he just goes and faces Terrence Crawford. Now he beats Terrence Crawford. He beats him. However he beats him, by points, whatever. What are y'all going to say? All that waste of time and negotiation to face Terrence Crawford. He beats Terrence Crawford. He been telling y'all Terrence Crawford too small. He been telling y'all he's a good fighter, but I'm going to beat him. All right? He beats Terrence Crawford. And I can tell you, there are several reasons why I think he will beat Terrence Crawford. Okay? Because Terrence Crawford there's certain things Terrence Crawford don't have. He's got a lot of skill. He got a lot of dog in him. But there's certain things he needs to work on in his boxing game before he can beat an Errol Spence. That's just my opinion. And one of the things is get in with some better competition than you've been getting. You're dusting everybody. That means the competition is not up to par with your skills and your ability. That means the you step up in tier of your competition. Now, even if he faces Kell Brook is not a top 10 welterweight right now. Just not. There are better welterweights in the welterweight division now than Kell Brook. But at least Kell Brook will have a certain skill set that he brings to the table that we will see if Terrence Crawford can get past. Kell Brook can also switch hit. He can also fight southpaw and unorthodox. Kell Brook brings to the table a number of different things. But Terrence Crawford can exploit some of the weaknesses of Kell Brook if he can with his skills, which we hope he can do. All right? There are certain things about Kell Brook also that lend to Terrence Crawford winning the fight against Kell Brook, but very readily that could not be the case if Terrence Crawford doesn't know what to do when Kell Brook starts to encounter those problems. And it depends on if Kell Brook is aware of those problems and how much better he has improved at dealing with those issues or correcting them, if he could. So a Terrence Crawford-Kell Brook fight is a very good fight for both Kell Brook and Terrence Crawford to make, because Kell Brook has an opportunity of actually beating Terrence Crawford if Terrence Crawford doesn't do the appropriate homework on Kell Brook to understand how he needs to proceed with Kell Brook. Right? Because Kell Brook can box. And I argue Kell Brook would knock out Amir Khan because he's better fundamentally sound than Amir Khan is. Jackson the Hopeful says Terrence Crawford is truly great as a talent, but he's going to run on social media 10 years later and talk about how Bob Arum robbed him blind. I don't like Bob Arum. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't like him. He's bad for boxing in my opinion. Everybody be praising him. He's Hall of Famer. And that, but he reminds me of Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant. He's not as bad as those two, but he does circulate rumors and use the machine mill to hurt other boxers. So he promotes the fight to the hurt of other boxers. He doesn't matter. He doesn't care if the boxer's career is wrecked once he's now in his top rank. You know, I don't like that. That's just nasty, and he's very nasty. I looked at how they ran that nasty campaign against Floyd Mayweather with woman beatings and stuff, only to die. So if he won the fight, and even now people talk about Mayweather Pacquiao as the boringest fight in history, only because Mayweather won. If Pacquiao won that fight, it could have been boring as shit. They would have said it was the greatest fight in history because everybody wanted Mayweather to lose. Everybody wanted Mayweather to lose. And that's all because of Bob fucking Arum. Sorry about the curse word. Bob Arum annoys the shit out of me because Bob Arum fucks up boxing. And they always go to him. I don't know why. Get that. I wanted to say get that motherfucker off the microphone, but hey, it's just my opinion. You guys don't. This is opinion. This is not fact now. My opinion on Bob Arum. I don't like him. Honestly, I don't like him. But whether you like him or not, if Errol Spence is to make a fight with Terence Crawford, he's going to have to work through Bob Arum's company and Bob Arum. All right. EJ Boxing Live, you just got out of bed to talk boxing. No, I didn't just get out of bed. That's actually clothes that I just moved to the bed to go and clean. Actually, I cleaned them. I dried them. I just had to fold them up and put them in there. I was kind of busy this morning, and then I fell asleep and stuff like that. Yeah. You're a real die hard, my brother. Die-hard boxer. Talking boxing. Hey, man, I've been training and stuff, man. I've been training. Y'all gonna see me. I'm gonna get video footage of me in an amateur bout very soon. Yeah. Jackson hoping Bob Arum is doing okay with the lightweights, though. He's running a tournament with Teofimo Lopez, who most likely is going to face Loma if he beats Comey. Well, he's not facing Comey next, though. Teofimo's facing some other dude, not Comey. Richard Comey right now. You know, it's like I think Bob Arum's trying to feed Teofimo Lopez to Lomachenko. He's trying to hype up Teofimo Lopez, who doesn't have much experience, and feed him to Loma. That's what I really think Bob Arum's trying to do. He's trying to make Loma a superstar. So he's fabricating an opponent for Lomachenko. That's what I feel is happening. Because if you ask me, Bob Arum seems to be promoting Lomachenko more than he's promoting what's his name? Terence Crawford. You know. And Terence Crawford being in crappy ass fights. Some real crappy ass fights, man. Jackson Hopeful says, Arum says if Comey beats that dude Beltram, he will face Lopez. Okay. We'll see. Bob Arum is that kind of dude. N. Sabanur says neither Crawford or Spence is proven. But call me crazy. Hold up. I was listening to you. Call me crazy, but I've said this times before, but the Gamboa that Crawford fought is better than the Kell Brook that Spence fought. Hard fight to call for me. Yeah, well, of course, Gamboa was a better fighter than, well, he was a better fighter than Errol Spence, much more proven fighter, because he had been a long-reigning champion at a lower weight division. The problem with that, my friend, is Gamboa had to come up 2 weight classes to face Terence Crawford. He had to come up 2 fucking weight classes. So yeah, he was a better fighter than Kell Brook, but Kell Brook was a bona fide, full-fledged motherfucking welterweight. He could have been a junior. He could have been a junior middleweight. All right, it was a big. Kell Brook's a big ass welterweight. All right, as we clearly can see, he fought at 154 just recently. Errol Spence a big ass welterweight. So when those two rumbled, that we didn't have to worry about power. We didn't have to worry about shit. We didn't have to worry about strength, and that's why I said it was a better fight. Gamboa fight versus Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford still had the advantage. He was a bigger guy. You know what I'm saying? But and he was getting outboxed, by the way, by Gamboa. But you can't put that on the same plateau as Kell Brook versus Errol Spence. Kell Brook was tougher competition for Errol Spence or any other welterweight because he's the number 1 fucking welterweight in the division. Get that? I want you to understand what I'm saying.
Whereas when you look at Gamboa, he wasn't the number one lightweight in the fucking division. Gamboa was he was a fucking featherweight. All right, he was a featherweight. Skip super featherweight to go up and face fucking Terrence Crawford. Or was he a super bantamweight? I can't even remember what he was. I'm gonna have to check. You guys go do the research. All right, he jumped up two fucking like what Mikey Garcia did. Jump up two fucking weight divisions to face Errol Spence. So you cannot compare it. You just can't. You know, size does matter. You know what I'm saying? So you can't compare. Yeah, of course Gamboa is a fucking better fighter than Kell Brook. That's nobody's arguing that. Nobody disputes that. You know, Mikey Garcia is probably a better fighter than Kell Brook. That's not the point. The point is there's a point at which size does matter. You know what I'm saying? And Gamboa, even though he was smaller, was tagging the fuck out of Terrence Crawford early on. But you know, these Cuban fighters, they're 3-round fighters, just like Erislandy Lara, and Terrence Crawford's got to figure him out, be able to catch his ass and drop him multiple times. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Gamboa, especially offensively, is a force to reckon with. You know, he's not the same now, but he's a force to reckon with. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of figured out the formula for Gamboa now, so people kind of know what to do against Gamboa. But yeah, Gamboa, fuck yeah, significantly better fighter than Kell Brook. You know, I think Kell Brook is fundamentally, or at least let me put it this way: Kell Brook takes less risk than Gamboa does. Gamboa's got all the skills, all the defense and everything, but he's more reckless. He'll take more risks. Whereas I think Kell Brook is much more, he stays textbook, fundamentally sound, not really trying to take risks like that. So, you know, when Kell Brook got beat by Errol Spence, it was a lot better because Kell Brook has a lot of defense. The problem with Kell Brook is he's not a great inside fighter. He's not. He's just not. Guess what? Errol Spence is a great inside fighter. So as soon as Errol Spence weathered the storm against Kell Brook and was able to start getting to the inside and breaking his ass down and pushing him back, that's when he started to really win the fight. But early on, Kell Brook was beating his ass, boy. He was definitely tagging him up. Not 100%, not like tagging him up on every turn, because Errol Spence got some defense as well. Yeah, so Terrence Crawford has, and again, we're talking about at welterweight. We're not talking about any other. Weight class. So when you look at welterweight division and you look at who Terrence Crawford has fought, he ain't fought nobody. He really hasn't. Amir Khan, no, he's just a name now. You know what I mean? Let's be real. He's a name. He's a guy that go in there, get knocked the fuck out against A-level competition and collect his paycheck. That's what he is. He's just a name to ride on. No disrespect to Amir Khan, but that's exactly what he is. When it comes to that's his marquee name. That's all Terrence Crawford got. He got nobody else. He got some undefeated fighters, you know, Jose Benavidez. But again, Jose Benavidez, I mean, come on now. He up and comer. He know nothing about the elite level. Nothing about the championship level. But you got a guy like Sean Porter, who's been a 2-time world champion. You got Danny Garcia, who's been a 1-time welterweight champion already. Okay, this motherfucker jumped into the welterweight division, and in 2 fights, he was a welterweight champion. And that's the kind of shit we're talking about. All right? And he's proven. You know, Danny Garcia's proven. We all know that. But we're talking about at welterweight. You know, Keith Thurman. How many defenses has he had at welterweight champion? You know what I mean? You know, 2-time welterweight champion. You know, this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Errol Spence is 1-time welterweight champion, beat the number 1 welterweight in the division. You know, this is the kind of stats we're talking about. At the elite level. Has Terrence Crawford faced a top 10 welterweight yet? No, he has not. So you cannot say anything. He can look as good as he's looking. You know, all those fights, you know, he was supposed to win. They're supposed to be showcase fights. You know what I'm saying? You know, you look at the recent weekend fights, Erislandy Lara against Jorge Cota. He's supposed to win that fight, right? Tough competition, but he's supposed to win it. You know, Sean Porter against Ugas. He's supposed to win that fight. You know what I'm saying? These are feature bouts. These are defenses that these guys are supposed to win. Right. So Terrence Crawford had the same thing. He just across the pond on ESPN, but he's been having fights where he's supposed to win those fights. They hype it up to hype up the opponent, but was supposed to win. And the sad thing about it is Benavidez got shot, I think, in his foot or something. So he had less mobility than he would have wanted to have. So I'm just saying, when you look at Terrence Crawford, ain't got nothing at welterweight. If you really strip it down, no disrespect to Terrence Crawford, but boy be boy be on a high. He getting confidence boosters. He got confidence booster fights, but he ain't be facing nobody, and that's a problem. When you're not facing people, you can't hone your skills like you really need to. So when you think about it, if Terrence Crawford don't face somebody of some worth, he's being fattened to be taken out by Errol Spence. He's just being fattened to be destroyed by Errol Spence because he's not been facing the competition he need to be facing. You see what I'm saying? I hope you get what I'm saying. So he may be looking great. That don't mean shit. Errol came to Kell Brook's backyard. Yeah, on top of that, he came to Kell Brook's backyard and stopped his ass. That's right. Because he wasn't going to get no decisions. So he had to stop his ass. You know what I'm saying? That's how comprehensive it was. Jose Benavidez already lost to Herrera anyway. Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah, and get caught with the overhand right time and time again, right? What did he get stopped with? Overhand right, right? Mauricio Herrera got robbed against Benavidez, I mean. Yeah, I know. That was for the interim welterweight title. I know. So when you look at when you think about what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? When you think about these fights and you think about what I'm saying about these fights, I'm just saying. And I, like you said, in Sabalder, I gotta agree. Both of them are not really proven welterweights like the other welterweights in the division who are top tier. They're not as proven as those guys. You know what's this funny thing though? Listening to again Bob Arum be dismissive of those other welterweights. You know why he's doing that? Because he's trying to promote a certain fight. The two most fucking inexperienced, sorry about my curse words, but the two most inexperienced welterweights in the division. Right? They're the most inexperienced champions. Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford are the ones that Bob Arum is promoting. Before you turn and try and get a Danny Garcia versus a Terrence Crawford fight. Right? Before Bob Arum be pushing for that shit, what is this guy doing? He's trying to put together Errol Spence against Terrence Crawford and dub Errol Spence the greatest welterweight out there without Errol Spence ever having faced the other top tier welterweights. Stupid, isn't it? Alright? So, as much as I think and I favor Errol Spence to beat Sean Porter, only because Errol Spence is cleaner on the inside than Sean Porter is, I don't see him stopping Sean Porter in any way. I see Sean Porter backing Errol Spence up. I see that shit happening as well. Because of the way how Sean Porter fights. Right? He's not very predictable and coming on the inside. And he's very quick. Okay? Because of that, I think it's going to be a good ass fight. And you can be guaranteed down to the final bell, Sean Porter is going to be bringing the heat. Non-fucking stop. I can guarantee you that. Errol Spence is a clinician on the inside. I expect Errol Spence to be able to touch up Sean Porter. I don't expect Sean Porter to stop or lose a beat. That motherfucker is strong. And unless he is weight drained, that's not happening. I expect him to also fight a little bit smarter. He's going to try and stay on the outside, box on the outside at times and stuff. What I'm saying, though, is the cleaner work's going to be done by Errol Spence. I think Errol Spence has good activity as well, but he ain't nowhere near the level of activity that Sean Porter got. Sean Porter is busy. I don't even think his conditioning's on Sean Porter's level, but we'll see. So that's what makes the fight very interesting. I think Errol thinking that he can catch Sean Porter flush coming in means that he's going to stop Sean Porter. I don't think so. I just don't think so. Too strong. I feel you, bro. On a side note, what about Delorme? I think he was a good name. Don't you think any of the lightweight? No, fuck no. Delorme never was a world champion, man. Come on. Are you serious? Delorme is at best a B-level fighter, man. Come on now. Thomas Delorme. Thomas Delorme got his ass knocked out by Terrence Crawford, and he also got stopped by somebody else, I think. I think he faced, what's that dude's name? From San Diego. I forgot what his name is. The guy with the right hand. I forgot what his name is. He beat him. Thomas Delorme, that's a stretch, man. He a B-level fighter. No disrespect to Delorme, but his defense is suspect. Defense is suspect, man. You don't think any other lightweight would have beaten Delorme that night other than Crawford? Well, the lightweight division wasn't that deep, though. It was Ricky Burns. Who else was it? Who else was that lightweight? Beltron? It wasn't that deep. I'm just saying. And somebody says, oh, Porter and Spence is going to be like, hey, fuck yeah. It's a unification bout. That's the IBF versus the WBC. Porter ain't going to just give up the WBC to Errol Spence. Errol Spence is going to have to come and take it. I think people, you know what's the thing? People get caught up in the fact that Kell Brook beat Errol Spence so easy. Not Errol Spence, Sean Porter. And Errol Spence beat Kell Brook. And people forget that Kell Brook's a damn quality welterweight. You know what I'm saying? At least at the time. So, and nobody expects Kell Brook to beat, by the way, Sean Porter. I was even backing Sean Porter to beat Kell Brook. And when I started seeing Kell Brook beat Sean Porter's ass, I was like, what the frickin'? Kell Brook was just pivoting and spinning Sean Porter all over the place. And that's another thing that Errol Spence does very well. I'm just saying, he pivots very well. But, but do expect Errol Spence to be on the back foot and Sean Porter to be on the front foot. Sean Porter's that kind of dude. He can push you back. Now, against Ugas, obviously Sean Porter was not the same Sean Porter we normally know, but he was also boxing Ugas, right? He couldn't muscle Ugas around. So if that Sean Porter shows up for Errol Spence, then he's going to have to box Errol Spence, which would be interesting. But if the Sean Porter I know, who's a fucking beast, shows up, it'll be a problem. You know? But he's been at welterweight for a while now. He does look small. So I don't know what we're going to see. But Sean Porter's a killer, man. That's a fucking killer. I'm not going to lie. If Errol Spence could knock his ass out, I got to give Errol Spence all the props in the world. Jackson Hopeful says, it's good I found this channel. None of my friends are big boxing fans, so it's tough. I hear you, man. I hear you on that. And it's hard to find boxing fans as well who, I mean, actually talk boxing and don't talk shit. A lot of boxing fans that just talk a load of shit. I'm tired of that. Shit talking and you know, they dick hugging and shit like that. I don't like that. You know, I look at things from a perspective. I'm matching up people. I'm thinking about, you know, how the styles that the fighters bring to the table. I'm thinking about the personalities of the fighters and their tenacity, how they come to the ring, and their attitude to the sport of boxing, how they're dedicated to the sport of boxing. So I look at all of those kinds of things. I listen to the interviews the boxers have. I watch how they're behaving. You know, one of the things I'd love to be was a consultant for betting on fights, predicting fights. That would have been cool. Yeah, I look at all those kinds of things. You know, what the guys are doing in their training. Sometimes you watch at their just looking at their mitt work. You get an idea of what they're really doing. Sometimes, not always. Some people just have the same random mitt work all the time. But some other people, for different fights, they have different mitt work, right? But what you do see in mitt work is all the skills of a fighter. So you can see all the different things that they do in the ring off of the mitt work to some degree. You want to see the footwork in it, but well, sometimes you see a little bit of footwork, but you see mostly the defense, the offense, what they bring to the table. You see everything on display, which I think is really cool. Yeah, man. So that's what really happened over the weekend. I do have to check out, like you were saying, as you were saying, Jackson, I got to check out that fight with Joey Spencer. I've never really actually seen any of his fights, though. Pitbull Porter can win, but Boxer Porter gets shut out. I've thought about betting, but I don't know much about that aspect. I want to make some real money. You know what? Man, would have been a great thing to do was to bet on Andy Ruiz, man. If you guys had bet on Andy Ruiz, y'all would have made a ton of money to win. But you got to do your homework. You got to do your homework to see how legit a fighter is. So, like, for instance, the upcoming fight with Andre against this Russian dude. That Russian dude ain't no joke. He's not no joke. You know what I'm saying? He showed that he's tough. So, I want to see how Demetrius Andre will handle that situation. I mean, What's his name? Brownsville dude. What's his name? Face Canelo and GGG. Jeez, I just drew a blank. Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs was able to prevail against him, but it was tough. It was tough. You know what I mean? Selecki, he ain't no fucking joke. I'm just saying. You know. So I want to see, and Selecki got some sneaky skills up in there. I'm not saying he's the most versatile fighter out there, but he's solid. You know what I mean? So that'd be good, a good ass fight that Demetrius Andrew going. Let's see what Demetrius Andrew could do with Selecki. Manny Pacquiao's coming for blood against Thurman. I can't wait for that fight. Oh yeah, for sure. Pacquiao got a chip on his shoulder for what Thurman said. But that's what Thurman's mentally trying to set up Pacquiao to be aggressive. Pacquiao got to be, aggressive, but you got to be clever. He's always been. So I'm looking forward to that. Tony Harrison and Jamal Charlo fight has been put on delay, so that's tough as well. Shout out to EJ Boxing Live, by the way. EJ, I saw you come up in the comment section. I really appreciate that. I'm supposed to check out your channel, man. I know you're really into boxing as well, not just on the big stage, but also back in the UK. So shout out to EJ Boxing Live, who's been promoting boxing, the real boxing, different levels of boxing, whether it's amateur or professional. EJ Boxing Live been promoting boxing. He's a real dude, man. He a real scene. You know what I'm saying? What I would like to say to you guys too is anything else you guys want me to actually talk on or do. Tommy Temper told me he wanted me to do a couple videos on defense, that is in the fight. How do you kind of like see effective defense in a fight, and how can you factor that into somebody winning a fight? And he gave a scenario. He was talking to me. He gave a scenario where he was saying that you have two fighters, they got about the same defense. At least this is what he thinks. And but one fighter keep on, he's busier than the other fighter, so he lands more punches on the other fighter. And I was telling him, well, then that fighter who's landing more punches got a better defense than the other guy, because if the other guy can't get his punches off on the other guy, but the other guy can on him, then the guy's defense is better, the one who's throwing the punches, than the other guy. So I'll try and talk a little bit more about defense, but defense involves so many different things. It's not straightforward like that. Jackson the Hopeful says, I kind of disagree about Boxer Porter getting shut out. He's going to mix boxer and swimmer in the fight. That's absolutely correct. But the thing about it is, Errol Spence is also a boxer and a swimmer, and much more technically sound. So it really is going to be about tenacity of Porter, how active he can be, more how explosive he can be against Errol Spence. If Errol Spence will allow him to do that, like I said before, Errol Spence has ridiculous pivot work, and that's just one of the fundamental reasons why I think Errol Spence beats Terrence Crawford. He got pivot work, and I can't tell you how important pivot work is in boxing. It's insane. That's one of the advantages Errol Spence has over almost every single fighter currently in the division right now. His pivot work is ridiculous. All right. Not to mention he changes levels. He can collapse. A big, tall guy can collapse to become smaller than you and bump you. Because he can inside fight. And this motherfucker is really complete. He can fight on the outside, as he showed you, and he can inside fight. And it's the thing that he always has the advantage to get in position of you, or he's about a microsecond behind you because of his pivot work. That's the thing that gets Errol Spence advantage over everybody. Ain't nobody that got better pivot work than Errol Spence right now. All right, let me see what N Sabah Nur said. I could see him coming out if he mixes it up, but I can see him outboxing. I can't see him outboxing Spence. Nah, he can't outbox Spence. That's not happening. He could try though. I agree with you. I think Errol Spence is a better boxer. He's more clean, more technically sound. Does he have a better defense? I think he has a better defense as well. So yeah, I see Errol Spence. That's why I said Errol Spence might be the guy to beat Sean Porter. But don't count Sean Porter out, because like I say, he's explosive. He's unpredictable in how he gets to the inside. He can be an in and out guy. He can stay on the inside and throw punches. He can box on the outside, just outside your range, then come on the inside. You know, he can do various things, and so that's going to give Errol Spence some problems and getting used to. You know, especially if Sean Porter's on point, it's going to be a problem. Errol's head movement can still be suspect. Yes, well, against Mikey Garcia wasn't so bad, but yeah, especially when, yes, Errol sometimes has his head in center line. That's why Mikey was able to counterpunch his ass off the ropes. And Errol had to back the hell off because he still doesn't know how to sort of dip his head as he's throwing punches, or just keep his head off center line when he's throwing a certain punch. You know, he doesn't do that. So yeah, he does. He still has problems with his head movement. We all agree with that. I think all of us agree with that. Troy King was talking about that as well. Spence uses real defense, man. He uses defense in various ways. He got the blocking 2 guard. He rolls punches. He pivots out of the way punches. He slips punches. He rolls under punches. I've seen him dip punches as well. It's just that when he's very aggressive, when he's coming for you, he keeps his head along the center line. He shifts off of center line when he's throwing combinations. He comes off of the jab at an angle, and when he's coming off the jab at an angle, his head is along center line. What he uses is 2 guard to block a punch coming back, so you can sweep around the 2 guard and catch him with a hook. However, when he's like actually throwing his combinations, he's off center line. So that's just how he designed it. Like, he can throw a jab and he's got the 2 guard up, and he'll slide in off an angle. That's how he do it. His head is not always on the center line. That's what I'm trying to say. Most of the time, his head is off center line. But when he's actually being aggressive, like almost any fighter, that's just the way. When you're aggressive, you can get hit because you're kind of, and he's a little bit squared up as well. If his head was along center line, but he wasn't squared up, it would be better than if his head's along center line. And if you're not squared up, very unlikely that your head's along center line. You know? And another thing he does is he leans forward with his head along center line, so he can always snap back out of the way of the shot. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just my thoughts on it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I got to get out of here. It's now, what's the time? 12 o'clock, I think. It's about 12 o'clock in the day. I got to go work. I'll see you guys later. Shout out to Jackson the Hopeful again. And shout out to each one of you guys. EJ Boxing Live at N Sabadner. Yeah, man, it's good talking boxing with you guys. You guys actually know what your shit, and that's great. You know, it's good to talk to people who actually kind of know what they're talking about. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I have another video tomorrow for you guys. In the meantime, man, stay safe as well.